Guys, it's going to be like Saturday with I won't be moderating until coach comes in. So if you guys can raise your hand in order and then go with yourself. We're going to have Ijon Marshall first.
Hey, good afternoon, Ijon. This is Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing good, sir. How you doing?
Good. How's camp going for you so far? What have you been focused on, and kind of what's the number one thing you've been working on so far in camp?
I think camp's been going really good. I think we've been getting after it. We pride ourselves on playing physical football, being tough, and I think we've been just doing that the first couple of days in camp. Today was first day of full pads, and it was nice to get out there and get some competition. I think camp is a time to connect and bond with your teammates. All summer we're with our teammates, and we also have other things like stat and school and other things like that to focus on. But this is a time where we can just focus on football and become the best teammate that we can be and integrate those freshmen coming in. You know, some of them still may be scared or nervous coming from Beast, but I think that I think as upperclassmen, we can do a great job of integrating them in and becoming a team as one, the new 2022 team.
That's awesome. And, you know, I know Coach Davis has a couple different kind of functions for the slot backs in your offense between the A and the T back. There's some slight variations there. Does he have you and most of the other slots learn both of those positions, or are you primarily focused on one of the two?
Yes, sir. As a slot back room, we pride ourselves on being very versatile. So running both A and T, I know every practice, all of us are getting some reps at A, all of us are getting some reps at T, because you never know. I think they're very interchangeable, even though they're two different positions. They're both slot back positions. And as a slot back, when we pride ourselves on knowing both the A and the T. So everybody's been getting reps, from me to Raheem Murphy to Tyrell Robinson, Maurice Bellin, Miles Sanders, and even Cole Catterbone, who's been working with the slots and receivers. We all pride ourselves on knowing both A and T, just knowing our assignments both ways.
Thanks, Ijon.
Yes, sir.
Hi, John. Ken McMillan with the Times Herald Record.
How you doing, sir?
Good, thank you. Hi, John. How do you view the first 4 days of practice as far as what you guys do, and how much does it change come today when you start hitting?
I think the first 4 days is kind of just, it's the first time we can put equipment on. All summer we've been doing player-led practices, running plays. We would have meetings, and we've been doing conditioning. So now it's time to hone in on the football skills, the football aspects of it, and just kind of bringing that mentality and developing that new culture for the 2022 team. 2021 is over. We had a good year. We ended off good in the Armed Forces Bowl with a great victory against Missouri. But I think it's time to build that new identity, and I think that's what camp is about. And once we get out of camp, we'll start transitioning into game planning for Coastal. We're doing a little bit of that now. But once we transition out of camp, our main focus is going to be game planning for Coastal.
How quickly does it come together now that you guys are playing, quote, real football?
I think it comes together very quickly. I think it's always going to be an adjustment, because coming from player-led practices, we didn't have the coaches out there, and a lot of times we weren't going against the defense. So to be able to finally get a look against the defense and a full-speed look, and just to go out there and compete, we pride ourselves on competing and being tough. So it comes at us very quick, definitely. From the start of camp, from day one, we competing and we getting after it.
Hi, John, what do you bring to the position?
I like to think I'm versatile. I can run the ball, I can catch the ball, I can block. I like to pride myself on knowing both the A and the T, being able to do a little bit of everything, and just being a great teammate as well, and integrating those young guys. They coming out of Beast, that's a hard time. Beast is definitely rough. I remember my freshman year, seniors definitely put me under their wing and showed the ropes. So now that I'm a junior, upperclassman in the room, I think the main thing that I can do is integrate those freshmen and make them feel a part of the family. Definitely. So I think I kind of bring a lot of things to the table, but as well as I complement the other slots as well.
John, last thing, as a junior, I mean, you've seen some action the first 2 seasons, but what's it like for a player like you, who was really trying to, make his name and crack into more playing time? What's it like for you guys to kindly, you've served your time, and now it's my time?
I think you kind of look at the guys we've had previously, like Brandon Walters and AJ Howard, those seniors that graduated, guys I've been playing with the last 2 years, guys I've been learning from. You got Tyrell Robinson, you got Raheem Murphy. Those guys we all kind of became a family. And I'm just learning from those guys, even though I played snaps my freshman year and I played snaps my sophomore year. Definitely it's going to be a different role this year, being a junior, more of a leadership role instead of kind of in the back and then kind of get your time when you do. So I think that like this year, it'll definitely be a lot different, but I think it's still important for me to bring those guys along and us come together as a whole room, because at any given point, you never know whose number's going to be called. It could be mine, it could be somebody else's. So I think if we bring the whole room together and we all hone in and we all act as one, then that's when everything is possible.
But it's like a new energy, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
You go
John.
ahead.
Yes, sir.
You're good, Tom.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that. You don't have a lot of stats, but in the Army offense, that doesn't necessarily mean you weren't on the field, blocking on a lot of plays. How do you feel about your comfort level of playing more this year, based on your 2 years so far?
I think I feel pretty good, honestly. Like I said earlier, learning from those guys that played before me, and I kind of played a little bit behind them. I think they paved the way. T-Rob, Raheem Murphy, those guys also still in the room. They're definitely an inspiration. Somebody that those two guys that I look towards and have learned a lot from, and definitely they were an inspiration. So I think I'll be feeling very comfortable as well, because, I think the hardest defense we'll probably go against this year is our defense. We see each other every day in practice. They know we're going to run. We know we're going to get for them. And the competition level that we get from each other is like no other. And I think we pride ourselves on that and that competition and that competing. So when I go out there on Saturdays, I'm like, all right, this is not our defense. And I feel, comfortable, because a lot of times our defense knows what we're running. So they'll give us the hardest look we'll see all year, because they know the plays that we're running. But other teams, they don't know exactly how fast the triple will hit. It hits a lot different when you're in person than versus when they get in a scout look from their scout. So I think comfort-wise, I think I feel pretty good. I think our defense does a great job giving us a good look. Coaches are doing a great job integrating me those past couple years, and then now it's kind of for me to step into a different role.
And what have you focused your improvement on for this year?
I don't think you can truly focus on one particular skill. I think it's good to naturally hone in on everything, be as versatile as you can, because as an offense, you need to be very versatile. You need to be able to run the ball. You need to be able to block. You need to be able to, even special teams, run down as a gunner on punt. I need to be able to run down and make a tackle. So I think it's important for me to hone in on every skill possible, running, blocking, pass catching, so I can be the most versatile and I'm able to do more for the offense. I don't want to limit myself to just being a blocker or just being a runner or just being a pass catcher. If I'm able to do all three, then that'll better our offense and better suit the players we can put in position.
Yeah. And last question, Jacoby, we talked to Jacoby Buchanan a few days ago, and, he's established as a short yardage guy, but he talked about one area of improvement for him is he wanted to be a better blocker for the other backs. Have you been able to see much of that from spring football and so far from camp?
From Jacoby?
Correct.
I think he's been doing a great job. Jacoby's a leader in the room. He's a stout guy, and I think he's done a great job blocking. I know Missouri, when Christian Anderson had a pretty good boot run on the action, he laid out one of those corners out there, and even Air Force 2 years ago during COVID, he had a good block on the same type of play. So I think he's been doing a great blocker, but that's just from his perspective. He feels like that's something he needs to improve on, and that's good because from my perspective, I think he's been doing a great job. So that's good that we have guys on our team who on the outside looking in, you think they're doing a great job, but from the inside looking out, they believe that they're still haven't reached their peak yet.
Yeah, and one more question about Jacoby. Do you have any funny stories about him? The opponents surprised at how big he is when they hit him.
I think they're surprised how fast he is. Jacoby is fast. When we do flying tens, he gets a very fast time, especially out the combo group with the B-backs and linebackers. For how big he is, he can move. So I think that just makes him really dangerous, honestly.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Ajan, how are you?
I'm doing good, sir. How you doing?
Good, good. I see maybe your teammates post that you're ready to start the season, like you would probably play right now if you could. What kind of work did you put in the off season, and did you add like some muscle or weight too in the off season or no?
Yes, sir. I actually got up to around, I'm between 185, 190. I've never played this heavy before. It was a big offseason. I kind of knew that going into the offseason, ending off last year, and knew that I would be stepping into a bigger role because you got AJ Howard and Brandon Walters graduating. So I knew that my role would even further grow. So I knew I would have to personally become the best athlete that I can be personally to service this team. And I think I did a great job of that. And our strength staff, they did a great job, not just with me, but with everybody. You got guys like Tyson Riley, who looks absolutely amazing, and Bonsu and Nate Smith, guys that just completely, who also are going to propel into larger roles. And they knew what it took in the offseason to put in the work in to further condition themselves. So I think as a strength staff overall, Coach Hughes and Coach Vaughn and all those other guys over there did a great job preparing us as a whole. And I think for me, just mentally and becoming more of a leader, I think the game is more mental than physical. You got to mentally know what you're doing. You got to mentally hone in on your fundamentals. If you can do all that, then you're going to excel regardless of what position you're in.
Nice. One more question. You switched to number 3 this season. Is there anything behind that switch? Did you wear that number in high school, or is there any meaning behind that?
Yes, sir. So I'm the third born. So I'm the youngest child. I'm the third born. And number 3 is kind of just like it was just kind of like my first year playing football. That's what I got. My mother was like, well, you my third child, so make sure that you get number 3. And I was like, it kind of just stuck with it. So I had it from Pee Wee all the way up to high school. So finally be able to wear it, it's kind of like a surreal feeling, because when I would look back when I was a senior in high school and I would come to visit and they let me put the number 3 jersey on, to finally be able to have that number 3 jersey on with my name on the right-hand side, it's just a surreal feeling. It's definitely, it gives you an opportunity to look back on the perspective and how far the journey you came. You got to appreciate the journey. You got to appreciate the grind.
No doubt. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
We'll have Ciarlo coming in just a minute. Okay, we have linebacker Jimmy Ciarlo here. Same thing if you guys want to raise your hands and go in order.
Good afternoon, Jimmy. This is Joe Iacono with GoBlackKnights.com. How you doing this afternoon?
How you doing, sir? I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Good. Good stuff. So, Jimmy, first question I want to ask you, a couple of years ago, the coaching staff made the decision to transition you from safety on down to the Apache position. How has that transition gone for you? I know the Apache is really kind of like a hybrid D-back and linebacker. How do you like playing that position? Tell me some of your favorite things about it, and maybe some things that you learned from Malcolm Morrison last year.
Yeah, so about the transition just from safety to Apache, I was really having a hard time at first, really with the playbook. And so Apache was something that was just a lot simpler and just fit my play style better, being able to rush the passer, being closer in the box. And it was really kind of dumbed down a little bit. And like the safeties were able to help me a lot. And then Malcolm was an absolute technician. So he's somebody who taught me a lot about the fundamentals, taught me a lot about drops, taught me about a little bit about everything. So he was someone I really looked after, someone who really looked after me, and someone I really looked up to. Taught me a lot about the game.
Good stuff. And my follow-up and final question is, I know the Apache position significantly different in Coach Woody's defense than the dog position that Andre Carter plays. But obviously having that great of a pass rusher on the opposite side of you, as well as Andre's a great coverage guy as well. Is there anything you've learned from him in terms of being able to maybe improve your pass rushing technique on blitzes or anything like that?
I would say as far as the technique and pass rushing, not much. A little bit maybe in the footwork, but the most I've learned from Andre is how hard he works. He's really somebody who behind the scenes is always, Coach Monken has talked about in the team meeting, who on weekends he's always up in Coach Woody's office, trying to learn more about the game, how he can improve himself. So in that regard, I really look up to him, always trying to better himself.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, Jimmy, Tom Shanahan. Hey, talk about, you haven't seen a lot of playing time, although you got into 12 games last year. Talk about your comfort level of increased playing role this year, experience-wise, and how you feel going into the season.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I've been fortunate enough since I've been here to play a lot on special teams. And so getting my feet wet there has done a lot to build my confidence. And Coach Attorney, giving me that opportunity, I'm really thankful for. So as far as stepping on the field, I'm really I've been very comfortable in that regard. And then also just a lot of the guys are really uplifting of each other. And, those guys telling me when I'm making good plays and, critiquing me as well really gives me a lot of confidence as well.
Yeah, and you must have shown a lot of progress in spring football to be in this position. Where have you focused trying to improve in the offseason and get ready for fall camp?
So something as recently that we've been trying to improve on as a position group, we've been trying to get some extra work after practice, really down in the box, punching our hands, being able to get off big blockers. Because, a lot of us are, we got to be able to do both things. We got to be able to keep up with a receiver 40 yards downfield, but at the same time, we got to be able to take on blockers who are 270 stepping out on us. So something we've really been trying to improve on because, most of our practices we're getting into drops. We've really been trying to improve on being physical with our hands, getting off blocks, things like that.
And speaking of being physical, what's it like playing defense when Jacoby Buchanan comes through the line?
So I actually don't actually get too many interactions with him. But that's certainly somebody you definitely go with the ankles for.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Jimmy, Ken McMillan with the Times Herald Record.
How you doing, sir?
Good, thank you. What's been your favorite aspect of preseason camp thus far?
Personally, my favorite aspect is definitely has to be the culture building aspect of coming into camp. We get tons of new freshmen. I couldn't tell you the exact number, but far more than any other school is looking at. And so really taking the first 2 weeks when they first get here, and Coach Monken expects us to know at the very least their names, and if not, trying to know their hometown and high school. So welcoming those guys is a big part of what we do in our culture. I think really it's just starting with getting the little things right. I really enjoy building the toughness aspect. It's the first time I've been on the field in a long time. We've been fortunate enough to have, I think every practice has been over 90 degrees and, on the turf feels like more than 100. So building just that grit aspect and being able to go play with each other and have fun. It's been great to be back.
What's it like being one of those guys, one of those freshmen, one of those sophomores who you're eager to get into the lineup, but you almost have to wait your time? What was it like for you?
For me, I didn't have, everyone has different goals. And so, my goal is I really want to contribute on special teams. And so what you really have to do, and, it depends on person to person, but I focus on doing the little things right. We start every single practice with 4 or 5 minute periods 20 minutes of special teams periods. And so something I really, really try to work on was just being really intentional on the reps I was taking there, finishing each rep, going 100% and giving everything I got. And then I was fortunate enough later on in the season to get a lot of opportunities on special teams. So I think it's really, you just got to take one bite at a time because they got a really short span, and we call it drinking water from a fire hose. But, you just got to take it one small step at a time.
I think some players might, obviously special teams is a chance to get into the games early on, but I think some guys maybe just want to get into the regular 22. What about you? Do you see yourself as a guy who will just do anything and special teams will be fine for you for the duration of your career?
So, sir, that's a good question. But, here we really pride ourselves, and Coach Attorney is the master of cultivating a great culture. And the special teams unit is really kind of like the heart and the center of this football team, what it means to be selfless and grit and determination and, putting everyone else before yourself. So anything that we can do, and I speak on behalf of myself and then anybody on this team, we're willing to do anything to contribute to the betterment of this football team. So anything to get wins.
And what do you bring to the Apache now? What's your skill set that makes you advantageous there?
I think really following behind Malcolm. I think I can offer a lot of things that he offered. Being able to cover a lot of fast guys, being able to get in the drops and read the quarterback's eyes, getting in those zones. I'm a little bit taller, a little bit bigger than Malcolm, so maybe just being able to take more of that window, more of that quarterback vision window, and then also just being able to be physical. And he was physical, he held his own, but in that regard, I think I could offer a lot just in my size alone.
The website Mugshot has you as dark haired. What's up with the blonde?
It's just something I'm doing for camp. I don't know if you've seen Tyson Riley. He's kind of the one who inspired me. He's I don't know if you guys talked to him yet. He plays B-back, but he's been doing it for some time, since the winter. And I was like, it looks pretty good. And so I had really long hair, and then into the summer I shaved it, and then I was like, why not bleach it for a little bit? But unfortunately next week it's going away.
Last thing, talk about New Jersey football. You're a product of that. There are a lot of guys from, quote, football states on this team. What do you think about representing Jersey?
That's something I take a lot of pride in. Everyone has their battles. We're in the team meeting room about, whose state is better, especially when guys are going up talking, saying where they're from. But especially being in North Jersey, it was a really competitive atmosphere. On my team alone, we had a lot of guys go to a lot of schools, so a lot of big time schools. And so just pushing each other on our team alone did a lot for me in my development. And then also being able to compete against a lot of top tier guys definitely helped me improve early.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you, sir. All good? Yeah. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Take care, sir.
Yeah. We'll have coach in just a minute. Ken, you can start us off and then we'll go to Joe and then Tom.
Thanks for waiting, guys. I'm sorry I had to go through the training room.
No worries. Jeff, good to see you today.
You too.
How lively was practice now that you're hitting?
I thought the guys were really excited to get out there. And we really tried to tone back on the tackling to the ground and a full live scrimmage. We were practicing live, but just tried to stay off the ground unnecessarily. And we did tackling circuit and all those things on defense and worked on those skills and fundamentals. But there will be times in preseason camp where we'll do that. Just the first day, we didn't think that was probably the best thing to do. And like I said, I went through the training room and we got a few guys banged up, but nothing major. So I thought we took a step forward today.
How quick do things take off from here?
I don't know. I think it's a steady progression now until the first game. And then hopefully we continue to improve as the season goes along. If we don't, then we're going to find ourselves in a whole world of hurt come, October and November. So I hope we just continue to improve. And I feel like we have here in the early part of camp, but there's a lot to find out, certainly with all the young guys. And I think next week when we split and we really have an idea of who's going to factor in that first game and travel down to South Carolina with us, it'll start to move a little faster.
Now that you're about a week in and you're hitting now, what are the developmental priorities from this point?
To develop a great team spirit is number one. And for these guys to come together, we've got several new guys in our locker room with the rookies that are here, and just getting this whole team to gel. That's number one. And then for each of the units, offensively, defensively, the different special teams units, and it's critical for us to come together and play together and everybody learn the schemes. And so, that's the developmental piece that is most important at this time right now.
Would you say it's been a good camp so far?
I don't know. It's hard to I guess subjectively give an opinion on something that you can't really keep score on. I think our guys have practiced hard and worked really hard. I thought they came into camp in good condition. And now we're really trying to play ourselves into football condition, which is completely different than running out there on the field with the strength coaches and as hard as they push them. It's a different kind of conditioning with all the gear on and everything like that. But our guys are doing a great job. They're working really hard, and I'm excited about the team that we have.
Last thing, we had juniors, Ajon Marshall and Jimmy Ciarlo in here. Do you see a difference when you have players who are now juniors who maybe haven't seen as much playing time in the 22 so far? Do you just see a different life in them?
I think there's a point in every player's career where they turn the corner and they become a guy that contributes. And both of those guys contributed a whole lot on special teams. You watch this throughout the year. And some of the plays that Jimmy Ciarlo made running down on the kickoff team, and the punt in the bowl game that Marshall was one of the gunners. The guy caught it and he instantly had him down. It's a really good play. And he's done those sorts of things for us on special teams. So those guys have contributed plenty. They're just probably going to be contributing more on offense and defense than they had. But they're mature. They've grown up, and like they're now getting their shot to play. I think everybody kind of finds that time where they turn the corner. And some of them it's really early in their career, and sometimes it's later, like these guys.
Thanks, Jeff.
Good afternoon, Coach Monken. Joe Icono with GoBlackKnights.com. First question is, I know depth on the offensive line is always a focus and always something that the coaches are trying to develop, especially when it comes to, like your opener in South Carolina in early September, getting everybody rest so that, everybody is fresh all the time and fresh legs. How is the depth coming along on the offensive line? I know when I spoke with Coach Davis a couple of weeks ago, he was pretty excited about some of the young players you have coming on the OL.
I think the youth on that offensive line, the guys that are moving now from their freshman year to their sophomore year, have really added some depth for us. And I don't know if this is the best offensive line we've ever had here. We'll find out. I don't know if they're the most talented group on the offensive line that we've ever had. Maybe not, but there is some depth there, and there's some competitions going on, and that's fun to see. And guys playing multiple positions right now, just trying to figure out who the top 5 are and who their backups might be. I think it's the group has good depth, and we'll know a whole lot more here in another week or two, just as to how many of them we're going to be able to count on.
And my follow-up and final question, last year, Zach Harding did an awesome job flipping the field on punts all the time and was a huge weapon for you guys. I know special teams is always a big emphasis in your program and with Coach Saturnio and everything. Heard some good things about your new punter. I'll let you say his name because I don't want to butcher it the first time, but how's he coming along in practice, and how's that going for you?
That would be Billy Belkey, and Billy's from Cleveland. He went to Benedictine High in Cleveland, and we're really glad he's on our team. He's really worked hard the last couple of years behind both Zach Harding and Brooks Jose, who were seniors last year, and he's put the time in. He hasn't wasted his time. He's got himself prepared, and I'm excited about him. And Matthew Rhodes, who's just going to be a sophomore, he's built like Harding, long guy, long levers, and I think he's going to be a good punter too. So Billy's having a good camp, and the challenge for Coach Saturnio and those guys is just to stay healthy. They can't go out and kick 8,000 balls every day and keep their leg fresh and ready. And they want to do that. They want to work their craft, but Coach does such a good job of really tailoring the workouts to what they need.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Coach, Tom Shanahan. I was looking at Ciarlo's recruiting profile, and he's listed 190, so he's probably closer to 180. But now he's 215, 220. Just talk about recruiting him and switching him to linebacker and just his overall development, what you see and what you like.
Jimmy was an excellent high school player from a really good program. His dad is a coach, so I really like Coach's kids, and he's just a student of the game, is really committed to being as locked in mentally as he can. And, he played behind a good player. Malcolm Morrison played a lot of football for us and was an awfully good player. And that's what happens. I mean, John Radigan, he played behind Cole. It's slipping my mind.
Christensen.
Thank you very much. Holy smokes. Cole Christensen, he played behind Cole Christensen, who went to the NFL. He steps in his senior year and he goes to the NFL. So Malcolm Morrison, who was a good player and had a chance to go to an NFL camp, that's who Jimmy's playing behind. So he had a chance to learn from a guy that's a really good player. Coach Luce does a tremendous job coaching those guys and preparing those guys. And Jimmy's ready. It just seems like since he's been here, he's never been more excited about football and about this team. And so it's fun to see him rise to the top of the depth chart like that.
And for him to be comfortable at that weight, do you just kind of play it by ear to see how he plays in practice? So when he puts on 5 pounds 1 year, 5 pounds next.
Yeah, that's just something that as these guys grow and develop, and he's not the only one. We've got a lot of guys that gain weight and pick up pounds, and the strength that they gain along with that, which he has. He's a good lifter and a good worker, and it translates onto the field, which is the great thing about Jimmy. And that isn't always the case. Some guys can lift the whole gym and just never seem to find their niche playing, but Jimmy's one of those guys that has. And I think they have to find the weight that they're most comfortable with. And I think our guys feel good enough about their relationships with us and the strength coaches that if they feel like they're getting too heavy, they'll come to us and say, Coach, I think I got to cut some pounds, or Coach, I got to gain some weight. I know I've got to do that, and I'll feel more confident, and I think I'll be able to move guys around if I can gain some weight. We try to help them either way, whether they need to cut or gain weight or maintain, and our strength staff and training staff do a really, really good job of that. And I think Jimmy's right at the weight he needs to be. And he was a safety. A lot of those guys that end up moving to that outside linebacker position, nickel position, is essentially what it becomes. Our former corners, former safeties that slide down and move in there.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Hey,
We have one more for Ken.
hey, Jeff, can you give us any update on the Army guys who have, headed on to the NFL? Do you have any updates?
I don't have any updates. You guys probably keep up on that stuff more than I do. I'm in camp here, and I just, the outside world is might as well be on a different planet, and that's just how it is when you're in camp.
Did they
I
drop
hope they're doing good. I'm so proud of every one of them, and I really hope they're doing good.
Did they drop you notes at all?
I got some emails and some texts sometimes from those guys. I haven't gotten any this preseason camp, but I'm certain I will. John Radigan, when he got to the Seahawks, he sent me a really nice text message just talking about our culture and our program. And I think they get out there and they get into these elite organizations in football, the NFL, and they kind of reflect on what they learned here and their experience here and the things that we do to make this a world-class experience for them. And I think he really felt that way, that he had a great experience, and it's a chance for them to be around guys from a whole variety of schools, FBS schools, Power 5, Division II. They're meeting and in the locker room with guys that had different college football experiences than our guys do. And I think when they get out there and have a chance to share notes, that they realize this is really a big time experience from what we do to take care of those guys, to serve them, how we equip them, how we feed them, the level of coaching and the detailed coaching and guidance that they get that prepares them to play at that level. And so now they don't have to write me notes. I know they're happy for the opportunity, and I'm happy for them. And that's our job. Our job is to love them and to take care of them, prepare them for whatever their career is going to be. And if that's the NFL, hopefully we've done a great job of getting them ready for that.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's all we got for today, guys. Thank you.
Have a good day, guys. Be Navy.
Take care.